Peace in Pan-Africanism to all the Paseta family from all around the world. Thank you so much for tuning in once again to the Paseta YouTube channel. My name is Kagiso Hlongwane, host in Jiva, the president of the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. And today I want to speak about something that relates to language. We know that the month of November is the month of economics here on Paseta, and I want to touch quickly on how important language is for economics, for participation in a holistic way in economics. Why language is very key. Now, you would appreciate that when forming a school that you say it's a Pan-African school, that the issue of language is going to be a very big one, and not because we are trying to put one language over above, but we are trying to decolonize the following generation, the next generation, from the clashes of a Eurocentric type of education. So that's something that we are trying to do. So when you look at the situation of language, language gives power. The reason I'm speaking English now is because the relatability and people understanding, comprehending what I'm saying in the entire world is at a higher rate than if I was to speak Sepedi, my mother tongue, or if I was to speak Xitsonga, which is my father tongue. Many people will not understand, only a few people will understand. Why it's that? It's because Africans, in particular when we speak about South Africans, are striving to be like Europe. If you have traveled overseas, you know what I'm talking about. There is one country in the entire African continent that looks like Europe, that's South Africa. Names, language, cultural behavior, not tradition, but the culture of South Africans, the way we do things, it's like we are closer to how Europeans do their things. The only thing we never took from them is their fluidity in their border system. That we did not take, but everything else we took. Now, when you say you are building a school that is a Pan-African school, meaning you want to decolonize the mind of the colonized children from the education that our ancestors has inherited from the Europeans and has given to us. The issue of language becomes a big, a debate point. What is it that Paseta is going to do when it comes to language? It's an open debate in the teams that we have. So it's an issue of saying, why is it that African languages did not develop in academia the way that English, Afrikaans, all of these European languages, French, German, has developed? What our colonizers did that was very smart for them to subside our anger in learning in our own language. If you look at the march in 1976 here in South Africa, of which is one of the reasons why Paseta was formed. If you look at what was happening there, our people were crying that we don't want to learn in Afrikaans anymore. We want to learn in our own language. We want to learn in our mother tongue. Now, what our government at that time did not understand is that did not mean that we want to make Setswana, Sepedi, Sizulu a subject in the school. We wanted it to be a medium of communication in the entire school. We as Africans, we must start being proud of our languages and speaking them on a daily. It's something that we must do in order so that when Paseta says we are adopting Kiswahili, we must make our language a trade language. If you want to go and trade with China, you are going to you are going to find yourself in looking for a translator in China. The Chinese president can speak English, but he chooses not to. The Russian president can speak English, but chooses not to. The same goes with India. They speak English here and there, and Brazil, but those are the big colonies outside Europe that choose not to speak English. Think about it. Why can't we trade in our languages? Why can't we have pride to say everything from numbers, words must be done in our language, in our shops? Why can't we have that type of pride as African people? Because you can't do English language as first language and do Afrikaans as an additional language, for example, or Pedi as an additional language, Tswana, whatever language. And this language that you are doing as an additional language, you are doing it only as a subject. So you only speak this language once in all the periods. If you have 10 periods and one of those periods is Tswana, you only speak Tswana here. The rest of the periods, you are speaking in English. How are we going to develop our languages if we don't put them in textbooks? It's a fight that Paseta needs to have. It's a fight that we are willing to attack. That's why we want to draw as much as possible academias, people who understand how to formulate modules and everything in our languages. It's a big fight. And remember, if you as a South African, if you as a person from Angola, if you are a person from Liberia, if you are a person from Portugal, Angola, where they speak Portuguese, in Namibia, where they were colonized by the Germans. If you tell black people, African people, that let's do away with English, black people will fight it to the death. If you ask any black person, you say, any African person, you say, which language would you want your child to learn? English or Kiswahili? 99% of our people who don't speak Kiswahili as their home language will choose English. English is a tool of trade. In South Africa, English is a measure of intelligence. However clean your English is a measurement of how educated you are. People who don't speak proper English, they get undermined because their English is not clean. There was time in South Africa where Afrikaans was that type of a language, where as jy neem mooi Afrikaans gepraat het nie, dan die boere het jou uitgeskop die werk uit, want jy kon nie Afrikaans mooi gepraat het. Jy moes Afrikaans mooi gepraat het om maybe a promotion or get anything, or to be loved by the boss, whether it be in the factory or be it in the farms or in the mines. So if we don't take pride of our language, which is our African indigenous languages, and develop them, not only have pride in speaking them, develop them into syllabuses, in modules, develop them into, you make sure that at school children are learning science in your language. But remember, Paseta believes that no one country can be a success, like an island of success surrounded by a pool of poverty. We are a sea of poverty. We are saying at Paseta, we have to do it simultaneously, all of us in Africa. So it's not only in South Africa where there must be Paseta, and South African children must learn Kiswahili. Remember, there is no Kiswahili as an official or additional or sub language in South Africa, but we are saying we're going to learn Kiswahili for our children because we want to trade in one African language, so we can be proud of our heritage as African people. So just like China, when you go there, everything is written in Chinese. You come to Africa, everything is written in English, and we don't have pride anymore. So Paseta is what is going to bring that pride. So when it comes to economics, language, as I'm describing it, it's important for trade. if you don't speak a specific language, it limits your comprehension of or understanding or relationship with other people, because you don't know their language. We need to be proud of our languages, African people. We need to make sure that we get to a point where we are going to say we are doing away with English gradually. It cannot be like a switch where you switch it off, even though I would prefer that it becomes like a switch. But because of the pushback that we're going to get from our people, our languages must be slowly introduced into the curriculums of the school and in subjects, and slowly but surely, but we find ourselves doing away with English, so that we can say, if we say it can take 100 years to do that, it's fine, it's okay, as long as we start. But if we say it takes 100 years to do it, the longer we wait, the more those years increase, the more it takes 150 years, 300 years, because that's how long it took for these people to colonize our continent. Through language. Language is important. It strips you from your culture, from your tradition. Language. If I take your language away from you, you are no longer a fully African, if you understand what I'm saying. So for me, when it comes to economics, when I think of trade, I'm thinking always language. Let's transform our language. Let's get to a point where we are proud of our language and we make usage of it. So remember, the people who are knowledgeable in the linguists, the people who are knowledgeable on language, slowly that generation is phasing out. Now we are having a generation that does not care about language. They prefer English, they prefer Portuguese, they prefer French. We must do away with that in the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. Tell me what you think on the comment section. The issue of language, how do you address it at your household? You know, we've got children who are now becoming more fluent in English than the home language. I've got the same problem at home, because we take our children, we give them to the colonizers from 7:30 in the morning, and we go and fetch them at 5 o'clock. You can imagine the child hears English every day, Afrikaans. You come at home from 5 o'clock until children, they're supposed to be sleeping at 9 o'clock. They are sleeping. Tomorrow is the same cycle. They indoctrinate the language into the children. So the child becomes, if you don't take extra steps as an African parent, you might find that your child will slowly walk away from their African roots. Come on, somebody go in the comment section and tell me, what do you think about language? Would you favor one language of trade in Africa, and that language being Kiswahili? Or maybe you want to entice us about another language, maybe Zulu, maybe Igbo, whatever language that you want to tell us about. Go in the comment section. I would like to hear your thoughts on that regard. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in on the Paseta YouTube channel. And we are still building the school. We are pushing so much on the ground. Make sure that you send your contribution of 50 Rand. We want 50 Rand. Remember, we are saying whatever we are busy with our private lives, with our corporate lives and everything, let us also build for the next generation. Because if you are in South Africa, you would understand that the African people are doing it for their people. And we can't complain and fight them at all times when we are unable to take out a 50 Rand a month just to say, I'm going to make sure I invest into this school that is for African children. Thank you so much, guys. Let's meet on the next video. And remember, as we say at all times, I hole Paseta, which means let Paseta grow.